And so God asked his people, come and join me in a covenant relationship. I will be your God, and you will be my people. In so many words, I will be your husband, and you will be my bride. And the people said, yes, count me in. And as we have watched these people through all of the kingdom books, one thing we have seen is they are not faithful people. It's interesting how when you get married, you really do have to put aside your boyfriends. I remember I got married and we went on our honeymoon, and I came home and spent one night at my parents' house before we were going on to our real home. And I got a call from a young man that I had dated as a friend off and on, and he called me. He had no idea I was married, and he asked if I wanted to go to the movies that night. I have to confess to you, it was the greatest shock to me that I couldn't go to the movies. I had to realize I was married now and I could not date other men. You see, God did not want these people to date other idols, to have other gods. He was to be their only God. And yet they went a-whoring. It seemed like we went through cycles where they would love God greatly and he would pour his blessings out on them. And then they would turn from him and start following some false idols, and he would bring about discipline. What God had to offer his people was two things: light and love. You see, he gave them light through his law, through his promises, and through his presence. He showed them the path that they should go, a path that would lead to happiness and blessings. And he gave his love. He provided their every need. He protected them from their enemies. You see, he gave them all they needed. And yet what they wanted was to be able to enjoy their own sin. And so they went a-whoring, and they became prostitutes, adulterers. How did that adultery, that spiritual adultery, manifest itself? You remember Margie said, as the leader goes, so goes the people. I want to just give you a little glimpse of what was happening in this nation during the time that Hosea was prophesying, which was about 755 to about 710. He was there about close to 50 years. He was speaking to the people. But let's look what happened there. When he came on the scene, Jeroboam II was the king, and I want to tell you that he was probably the smartest, wisest, best king Israel ever had. He did not love God, but he was pretty smart. And for 41 years, he led those people into prosperity. Their borders expanded. They were quite powerful. They were very prosperous, and if you would have stopped by the nation at that time, you would have thought they had everything. And they thought they had everything too. And yet while he was king, though it appeared that they were religious, they were still offering the sacrifices and having a show of loving God, their hearts were far from God.